So this device here is my very own Model 15, which I got from the late Bob Erickson, who was a restorer at the Computer History Museum. And had worked on this machine. Let's see if I can remove the very, very heavy top part. And some of you may not know what a teletype is, but basically it's a remote control typewriter, and which is controlled remotely using Morse code. In this case, a refined version of the Morse code, which is called the Baudot code, after my compatriot Émile Baudot, who invented the first machine-readable Morse code on 5 bits. So here's the table for the Baudot code, and basically at idle it's always on, so the line is closed and there's 60 milliamp flowing through it, and the white things are which are called spacing are actually times where the circuit is open. So to start a communication, you open the circuit. That will do the start bits. Then here are the bits that define the character, the 5 time slots. So there's 2 that are closed, 3 that are open, and then you have 1 or 2 stop bits for teletype, at least 2 or 1.5. So they have the time to process the character mechanically. So they don't call it on and off; they call it space and mark, which went all the way to RS-232, because it can be either on or off, or in one polarity or the other, in case you use polarized relay mode. And then there are 2 sets of characters. There is the shifted and the unshifted, so the lowercase and the uppercase, and that's you change from one to the other by transmitting 2 special characters, figures or letters. And from his name we have the baud rates, which is still with us, and the ASCII and the RS-232, which are later evolution of the same thing. Basically this one consists of a transmitter and a printer, and the 2 are not connected at all mechanically. So if you want to actually see what you're typing, you must connect the 2 in series by an electrical line, so that the printer sees the autocode sent by the transmitter. And that's the only way you will be able to see something printed. And in its simplest form, which this one is, there's only 2 plugs, one for the transmit and one for the receive. I might have them mixed up. One is red, one is black, can't remember which is which. And just power. That's all you need, power for the motor. And there is nothing electronic at all. There are just switches over here, and the only electromechanical piece that's actuated by electricity besides the motor in the printer is a selector magnet, which I'll show you in a minute. So the selector magnet is hidden on the side right here. So I can turn it around. So that fellow over here. Let's see if we can get a good view on it. So that's the only electrical part. So all the decoding from the serial stream to the character that's typed is done simply with this magnet and mechanical means. No electronics whatsoever, which is actually quite amazing. So in addition to the typing or the printing, some machine could work also on paper tape. Not this one actually, but the Model 19 has both a tape puncher, which would be punched from the keyboard, and a transmitter that could separately send the tape. later on. So you could punch a whole message and then feed the tape, and then some machines are able to punch a tape on receive. That's called a reperforator. We don't have that one. And Carl just managed to make the Model 15 work because he has built an interface for it. Wow. Carl just built this contraption from a kit where we can do the reds for receive and the blacks for send, and this connects to a computer at the other end and transforms just the regular USB into the 45 bauds, 110 volt, 60 milliamp current loop. So he currently controls it from his computer over here. Let me see if we can see the relay on the side. It's working. Okay, see if we can see the decoder work. Go for it, Carl. Carl just explained to me how the decoding works, and those are the 5 Baudot bits, which are set by these bars here. We'll see how the selector magnet sets them. Why do I have this one?
There's kind of a universal, so when it gets to the end, when it gets to the stop bit, that fires the mechanism to say
okay, so
print whatever's set
universal up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which this one is set. And then each of them, in turn, you have to set it up here. And see if I can zoom on it. Yeah, you can see it. There are 5 bars with coded notches in them. And you can see how they move. And there's only, per combination of the 5 bars, there's only one that will allow one of the levers to go down, and when the lever goes down and the print action is taken, then it will fire whatever letter is done. And here's the selector magnet, and that's how it accomplishes the selection. So this goes really fast, and once it receives the start character, this starts to spin. And depending on the position of the magnet, it will set one of these 5 little levers here really quickly. And they are interposers, so they just fall into place, and then at the end of the cycle, something pushes, and everything that has the bar set in place will flip the Baudot bar that was in the front. So that's how you can do 45 bauds, which is like 22 millisecond per selection, something like that.
Per bit, yeah.
That's pretty amazing mechanically. So that's a couple characters a second. Not bad. So here we have the selector magnet working without the motor running, so you'll see it and hear it. Pretty darn fast, huh? On the send side, it's done by this encoders here, and once again you have the 5 Baudot bits, and then each time I press a key. Oh, I just don't put it in send. Each time I press a key, so this will engage and go through whatever bit code corresponds to the key, and there are one contact per bit basically, and tell me this is the stop bit and then the 5 data bits. It goes so fast you can't tell what it's doing. So very beginning of serial communications, this were of course used for telegrams and news feeds. These were used for a very long time. This particular unit, the Model 15, was made from 1930, and the day it was announced, until, believe it or not, 1963. So used for a very long time, and after that they it didn't stop in 1963. They made them until the 1980s with the Model 28 and later ASCII models on 8-bit, the SR33s.